everyone, Nyanstar here, and I'm starting to run out of intros for these school videos. This is, video 8 of 11? Can't always keep it fresh. First things first, I had a lot of scheduling issues at the beginning of the year. Before the year starts, we always had this day to come in and get our schedules. When I got my first schedule, I noticed something right away. My gifted teacher, Miss R, wasn't on my schedule. That wouldn't have been an issue if I was still placed in a gifted class. But I wasn't, so I had to go to admin and complain that I wasn't in any gifted classes. I hate complaining, but I wasn't about to be placed in normal language arts and social studies. Since it was like a week before school started, they told me to come get my new schedule on the first day. I love being stressed on my first day of school. So on the first day, I went to the office and got my new schedule. I went to first period, which was English, and then noticed another problem. They had placed me in 2 social studies classes. They replaced my science class, which was a required class, so I was in gifted social studies and regular social studies. So once again I had to ask to get my schedule changed. In my school, we had beginning, intermediate, and advanced band, and I was supposed to be in intermediate band this year. For the last 2 schedules, I was in band, but on schedule number 3, I was moved into guitar. I had actually wanted to be in guitar when I was in 5th grade because my favorite FNAF character played guitar, but when I got to middle school, I chose band and loved playing the flute. I complained again to the front desk and told my parents when I got home. My mother insisted I should stay in guitar and that I was dumb for getting attached to the flute. I was dragged to the counselor's office to discuss my schedule before lunch the next day. She asked if I wanted to switch back into band or stay in guitar. I said, I want to go back to band, but my mom wants me to stay in guitar. She paused for a moment and asked, but what do you want? And I think I blue-screened right then and there. No one had ever asked me that before. So I confirmed that I wanted to go back to band, and finally got a good schedule. My classes in order were English, math, science, band, social studies, and art. Gym was only required for 1 year, so I got to do 2 electives. For at least half the year, since we had to do half a term of health. So after winter break, my schedule was English, math, science, band, health, and social studies. We also had advisory occasionally. My original advisory was with the teacher that I was supposed to have for math last year, but after all the schedule changes, I ended up with my science teacher for this year. And this year, they tried out separating each age group. The 7th grade class was split into dragons and manticores. I was in the dragons, then a manticore when I was put in Miss A's advisory. While I think dragons are cooler, the manticores were significantly smaller than the dragons, so there was an underdog bias for me. In the beginning of the year, some of us had a different gifted English teacher. I don't remember much about her, because she was only there for maybe a month. She read us a book about a teacher that drank black coffee and put a cat down, I think. I found it, and it was called The Cat and the Coffee Drinkers. We got to drink coffee in class. Luckily she let us have sugar, since I hate black coffee. She also got really mad that I didn't know cursive. Like she was in such disbelief that a gifted child didn't know cursive. I couldn't read it very well either. I also remember that this was when I was obsessed with saying I was a demon. This one girl laughed in my face, and then like 2 minutes later all the power in town went out. I was smug about that for weeks. She left the school and my schedule was changed once again. We were all put back in Miss R's English class. Our gifted class was also moved into the main building, and we missed the nerd cave greatly. I was still good friends with B and V this year, and while I was decent friends with A last year, they became part of the group this year. The 4 of us sat at the same table a lot. We had to switch seats every, 2 weeks. And we even came up with a group name. We called our group the Nekomatas, and we were a very tight-knit group. While B and I ate in the outside area last year, we all ate together in the cafeteria this year. This led to a lot of funny moments, such as when V got up to get a napkin and came back to see me punching her salad. I just thought it would be funny in the moment, and then I punched every salad she got from then on. This year for science, we had biology, which is my favorite field of study. I'll call the teacher Miss A. She was amazing. She was always friendly and talked about how excited she was for Pokemon Moon to come out. She made learning biology fun, and it's why I heavily considered being a biologist. She was also one of the sponsor teachers for our LGBT plus friendly club in 8th grade. Having her for science and advisory was very nice. I also almost had a seizure in her class once. This was the one where A had to walk me to the nurse. Miss A also took science lab seriously. If you had long hair and didn't have anything to tie it back with, you didn't get to participate. Usually I could borrow one from those girls who had their arms covered in hair ties, but this one time no one had a spare. So I bunched my hair up in a bun and stuck colored pencils in to keep it in place. The other kids might have laughed, but it was surprisingly effective. One of my electives was art. I only had it for a semester, but it was fun. It was a beginner art class, so a lot of the other kids were only there for the easy grade. They would mess around and not pay attention, which drove me bonkers. There was this one kid that always showed people things on his phone without asking first, like adult content or shock sites. But despite the assholes, the class itself was fun. We made pinch pots and coil pots. I also made this lump of clay and called him Bob the Potato. I drew this two-tailed cat, and the art teacher wanted to enter it in a contest, but I never heard where the contest was, and I never saw the drawing again. This was the teacher that told V she wasn't poor because she went to school, even though this was a public school. Yeah, she wasn't the greatest. The next semester, art was replaced with health class. We had the talk at the end of 5th grade, but this was more detailed. The health teacher was not well liked. She was a bit condescending to any kid she viewed as dumb. Luckily, I always got good grades, so she was always nice to me. The other kids were not. Whenever I was forced into a group for a project, either I would end up doing everything, or they wouldn't let me participate so I would get in trouble. The latter never worked, though, because I was always the one who got straight A's, so the health teacher always took my side. That's probably why they kept trying to get me in trouble. As was mandatory, I had a math class. My math teacher also taught the regular ed social studies, so he helped me change my second schedule. He also loved to spend the class telling stories instead of teaching, which is always the best. I shared this class with A, and there were 2 others at our table. One was a kid who was in my advisory last year. I'll call him Key. Last year he punched me in the arm when I sat on the gifted couch when he wanted to sit down. I never let him live that down. And we joked that if we saw each other on the street years later, I'd bring that incident up. He was pretty cool, and I liked talking to him. We also had another guy, who I'll call Youngster Joey. He was quiet, and I stole a marker and foldable scissors from him. I did give him cash to pay him back, though. I ended up seeing Youngster Joey again years later because his older sister was friends with my older sister at the time. The 4 of us hung out during math and always got in trouble for talking during class. We had a lot of spirit assemblies this year. Apparently this is only an American thing, so I'll try and describe them. Basically, we'd sit in gym and watch/participate in games while screaming about how much we loved our school. Yeah, looking back on it now, it is really weird. Back to Dragons vs. Manticores. They'd have us chant and whoever was the loudest was given a trophy. Despite the fact that 3/4 of the 7th graders were dragons, Manticores won the trophy 2 out of 3 times. The last time we were still the loudest and won all the games, but the dragons still won. Miss A, who was the lead Manticore teacher, said they probably gave the dragons the trophy out of pity. It's probably for the best since the competition was very thick. People would get into fistfights and one girl had milk thrown at her. That's probably why the grouping was downplayed the next year. So downplayed, I can't remember if we even had groups the next year. The year ended, and I ended up with 3 bestest friends. I was told going in that 7th grade was going to be very hard on me, and while I struggled, the next year just blew it out of the water. So if you enjoy some schadenfreude, tune in next time for 8th grade. Stay safe, everyone. Bye!